Buenos dias, Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Orale. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a motherfucking ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye-ya. Bye-ya. Yes, indubitably, as you can tell by that thumbnail, I'm going to tell you guys a little story today. A real story, true, actual, and factual. I stamps that, right? And in Menudo style in direct fashion, we're going to get straight into it. As you can tell by that thumbnail, 36 months into a life term. I've seen it with my own eyes, man. And I've seen several cases like this, several things that have happened where people go in doing 18 months, 24 months, 36 months, and end up doing a life beef, right? They end up doing vida, because they get themselves caught up in the cycle, the vicious cycle, which is prison. Prison politics, what's going on behind them walls. So I was scared the society within the society, and that is what it is. Menudo, right? You got to understand that when you're in prison, your mind should be where you're at. Your physical, your mental, your mind state, everything that goes into prison is where you should be. If you keep thinking about the calles, if you keep thinking about what's going on outside, so I was scared you're going to find yourself with a nice piece of metal inside you. That's just the way prison works, man. Prison politics deem that you need to have your head focused, Sasuke, and on swivelization, because the wiggleization is definitely real. Now, the story that I wanted to tell was a guy that I ran into in Corcoran prison. And this young guy, man, this guy gets there and he's not doing much time. He's got about 3 years and he's placed on a level 4 yard just based on the fact that he had a lot of points. He had, his points were way high. He had been through the California youth system. He was a youngster. He was a validated gang member on the streets. He had several tattoos all over his face, 14s, XIVs, Huelga birds. He was really with the business. Okay, now I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and tell you he was one of those youngsters that was just faking the funk or trying to be something that he wasn't. No, this guy was actually striving and very educated. For being as young as he was out of the city of Hayward, California, and he was from A Street. He was a righteous individual. I'm not going to use his name because he's still striving in his cause and doing his thing, man. And to him, I say salutes, respects for what he's doing. At the end of the day, man, it's not what I'm doing, but it's what he's doing. This story's about him. So anyways, he gets to Corcoran prison. And he volunteers to become one of the motherfucking vatos on frontline status, meaning he's willing to pick up arms and defend the casa, defend the household. Now, I remember upon him getting there, man, of course, he gets there, he sits down, he does everything he's supposed to do. He does his 5-on-5. He gets shot his NAQ 1s and 2s, everything that he needs to do to answer the questions, to let people know exactly who he is, what he was, and what he's about. He shoots his paperwork, his discovery from court, everything that he had to do, man. This vato was up to par. He already knew what time it was coming from Tracy reception, coming from San Quentin reception. He already knew exactly the get down. So he gets there, man, and within the 3 or 4 days, he's cleared and he's embraced in the household. He's embraced in the casa. Now, of course, this vato actually goes to who he needs to go to. Me being one of the guys at this time, it was like, hey, I want to defend the casa. I want to do use this. Use me, right? I want to use whatever I have to defend the household, man. I'm willing to volunteer for whatever. It is what it is. I'm striving for the betterment of the people. Now, of course, I ask him, hey, how long you doing, bro? I get to know him. He seems like a good, righteous homeboy. One of those homeboys you see right off the bat and you like his makeup, you like his character, you like the way he wiggles, right? So I'm like, what's up, bro? He's like, yeah, I'm just doing 36 months, man. Got a little drug case and a little assault, this, and that. And it all pans out. And I'm like, damn, bro, don't even trip, bro. Just kick on back. You'll get your time to shine at the same time, bro. With 36 months, I'd be easy breezy, bro. I'd be just trying to blend in and do my time. That's my mentality, I do what I have to do for the household, and I'll put my motherfucking shit on the line. But at the same time, if you don't have to and you don't got to, why not? It seems like there's a lot of authors doing 19 years, 20 years, 25 years that are willing and able to pick up arms and defend the casa. Now, of course, if something was to pop off on that yarda, and at this time, man, we were having a lightweight little beef with the Africano brothers, man, from the Bay Area, the Kumis. So we were kind of like on a soft defensive stance with them. We were still cool, but at the same time, there was friction there. It could have popped off at any time. We were waiting for directives to pop it off, and they were just kind of like on a whatever it is what it is, right? Type shit. Anyways, so I'm getting at the home, but I'm like, what, Holmes? Sit down here. Let me sit down here. The wind's blowing. Let me get at you, right? I'm like, hey, trip out. You're 36 months to the gate, bro. You're short timing. Don't even trip, man. If your time presents itself, if the time presents itself, of course, being in prison, you know you got to do what you got to do, man. You can never say, Charlie, I don't need that pico that guy. Nope, you pick it up, you strike that, you revert, you flip it like Billy, and you handle it, right? But he was like, Charlie, man, I'm willing to put everything on the line. And he did. Oh, he put everything on the line. And guess what? The linea got severed and he lost everything. And this is part of the game. This is just one of the instances where it happened. Anyway, so I remember the day before the pegada, the removal that he did, Avalto was there on the yarda in a different unit, a different building that had some bad paperwork. I'm not going to go into the details of how bad it was, but it was pretty bad, right? I remember laying eyes on the paperwork and saying to myself, damn, this Avalto's gone. You know, so the filter went out, of course, that he was to be removed off the next yarda. We had 24 hours to basically get rid of this guy, man. This guy was going to go. That's just how it is on a 4-yard, man. We were not playing. You know, people are not playing. Weaponry is going to be used. Vaulters are going to have to go the hard way. There will be no easy way. 4, the hard way, right? So there was going to be 4 of them on him the hard way. And of course, I already knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that this youngster was going to be in the mix. That's just the way it was playing out, man. I seen this shit from Houston. We had the youngster involved in the removal, right? I already knew what time it was. And of course, quietly as it's kept, we went to Yarda the next day and the homeboy got at me and he was like, hey, trip out, it's about to go down. Yard recall, you know what it is, man. Same old love song, ain't nothing to it but to do it. And it's cool because the guy that was on the Yarda that was being removed, he was all laughing. I remember he was happy that day. So I think he felt he had bypassed everything. Of course, he was cleared on the yard. It was just you know, he was cleared, but not cleared, if you understand what I'm saying, man. So he thought it was all good. He thought he was able to skate by and that nobody knew his filth. But Sasuke, just like in the movie Scarface, he got the Suarez brothers locked up, right? Everybody knew his filth, and Omar was about to get thrown off the helicopter one time for his mind. So, of course, here comes this youngster and several other individuals, and I'm not going to go into the details. You guys already know how it is. You've watched fucking Mi Vida Loca. You've watched American Me. You've watched fucking Miklo Suck Fingers, right? You know how it goes in prison. This Vato goes and proceeds to handle his business with several other individuals of a vicious fashion. Now, of course, they didn't body nobody, man, but they did just enough to handle their business, man, where this kid actually was placed in a minute segregation after this and, of course, caught a shoe term, to which in the shoe, man, he was able to facilitate some type of assault in there on a corrections officer, and he got stretched out. Okay, he got stretched out. Now, the assault that he did on the correction officer, it was basically, from what I heard, man, it was something planned. It was something that was supposed to go down, that he involved himself in. This kid was striving, man. Now, let me tell you about the mentality of striving against non-striving, okay? That doesn't matter. If you go into prison, you're about your people. You're for the benefit of your people, man. You're for social status of equality. You got love for your gente. That's fine and dandy. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's how politics plays out, man. You got to show love for the Norte or show love for the Sur or Bulldogs or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, striving is different, man. This is someone who's really striving to achieve that somebody status, be that one, you know, and not everyone could do it. It's a very elite few. And that's why I respect those that have made it all the way that way, like Big Boxer, you know, several other individuals that have went that route. You got to show them love and respect, regardless of what you may think. No matter how it all panned out, doesn't matter, man. These vatos strived for the betterment of the people for several years and set that foundation down, you know, and continued to. So anyways, that's where this kid was heading. And I watched him with my own eyes. Like I said, that was the first step. And then, of course, he went to the shoe, Pelican Bay, ended up catching more time upon more time. Last I heard, the Vato had turned that little 36 months into a life beef, right? He's now sitting down forever. And from what I hear, and I got a lot of good homeboys, man, that still fuck with the cat, he's still striving, right? Now, what goes into that mindset? A true believer. Okay, I myself at one time was a true believer. And I still firmly believe in the Norte cause. I still believe the people need to come together to fight oppression. They need to come together for protection against any other group, man, that's going to go against them. I believe that. You know, I'm a firm believer in that. But at the same time, I don't believe in violence and having to go around. I don't believe in cannibalizing your own people to get that to that goal, man. I believe, man, we need every motherfucker spoke in that Dayton. You feel me? That's just how I've been. So I'm just keeping it real. But this kid was different. He was a homicidal maniac, right? He believed in no pain, no gain, right? Be more man than him. He wanted to be more man than everyone else. And he went out there and he proved his worth. You know, at the end of the day, you look at it from the outside looking in. Yay, you're going to look at it and think to yourself, what did he achieve by that? Well, he achieved accumulating several years on his beef. He achieved some type of status eventually. But all the homeboys just looked at him as a baboso for the most part. Not everybody, but a lot of us. You know, we were like, damn, bro, this kid was about to be out there to tacos de carne asada. He was about to be out there to a torta. He was about to go to Arby's every night. He was about to live it in a real way. And he decided to sacrifice all that for the gente. Now, you can't be mad at him for that. You know, if anything, man, he's to be held in high regards and to be respected. And I respect the fuck out of that. But at the same time, Sosuke, ask yourself, would you do it 36 months? Now, if you had the chance to bypass that and be like, nah, I'm just going to kick back, do my thing. Because it wasn't mandatory for him. Eventually, his car would have got pulled and he would have had to do something. You know, that's just how prison is. That's how politics play out. But did he have to go that route? Not really. He chose that. You know, he's a true believer, a firm believer. And I say respects to that, Vato. But I did watch him with my own eyes. Like I said, turn 36 into life. That was crazy. Now, I've seen other individuals. And I'm going to tell you a little story. It kind of pertains to this situation. It gets a little different, but I'm going to put some paint where there ain't and let you know. There was a cat. He was an Italian guy. Italian and Mexicano. So he rode with the Norte, man. He wasn't necessarily a gang member on the streets. Never was involved in politics. Never was involved in being a gang member. He had some familia members from the city of San Jose that, of course, were Norteños. He actually had some family members that were Southsiders. So he had a little bit of everything, man. So he knew the gang mentality, but didn't play that shit. In fact, this Vato actually was like one of what you consider a little pretty boy. He was involved in a racing team on the streets. They had Acura Integras and Honda Accords and Sasuke, whatever the fuck, Rice Rockets, whatever they drive. Those little youngsters, man, with those nice cars. Acura Integras. Anyways, he had one. And he was actually a banker at a bank, you know, at the teller. Sasuke, I need my money. How would you like that, sir? In 20s and 50s? Nah, give it to me in 50 and 100s. But, sir, it's only 300. So I don't give a fuck. Like I said, 50s and 100s. And in that fashion, right? He was a banker. He was just a regular kid, man, had a beautiful old lady. I think he had a daughter. They had just had a daughter. He was like 22, 23 years old. He was young in the game, man, going to school, trying to achieve. And you can't be mad at him. As a Mexicano Italiano, he was out there doing his thing. He was out there repping for his people. My nose itches. I should be getting some money. Anyway, so he was doing his thing. So what eventually ends up happening is one night, he gets a little pisteando with his homeboys, and they decided for no other reason they should race each other. Now, he has two homeboys in his carro. There's a few other guys in the other car. And as they're racing, he loses traction, you know, and he hits a telephone pole, and one of his homeboys is discharged. So I was going to see him. We're going to get him for trying to leave the scene of a crime. The other one, he breaks his neck in the back seat, and this guy gets all fucked up as well, but he loses his two homeboys. So now he's sitting in county jail. Vehicular manslaughter, DUI. So I was getting anyone that knows about a DUI knows a DUI ain't nothing pretty. It'll ruin your life. So I was getting no license. You got to play with blow and go. So I was getting all kinds of fines and frivolous fucking antics. It's just an ugly situation. So now he has that compiled on top of his two homeboys are dead. Two childhood friends that he grew up with. So he's feeling the pain, man. He's feeling the hurt, you know, and now he's looking at time. Ultimately, he goes to court, Santa Clara County, and gets blessed. He gets lucky. The Vato only gets 10 years for the involuntary vehicular manslaughter, right? So it wasn't his fault, but it happened, and he was drinking. He could have got much worse time because he was under the influence, but at the same time, man, they cut him a deal because he never had no crimes, never had a record. It was what it was. So he goes in there with the 10. He goes in there with the 10, and he starts to adapt. Of course, in county jail, he gets pulled quickly into the northern carro, right? He's a Norteno. He's a Norteno by proxy. Sasuke, you're from San Jose. Number 2, Sasuke, you got the look that got some shook. And number 3, Sasuke, you don't have a choice. Get over here, right? So he's over there, and he's doing the Norteno thing. And he starts to strive as a homeboy. Now, remember, he's sitting on 10 years. He's sitting on 10 of them. 10 nice ones, right? Anyone knows, man, 10 and up, you're doing time. 10 and below, fuck you. At the 9 and you ain't even doing no time. I got more time on the toilet. So anyways, he comes in, and he's striving. And he's just trying to blend in. And homeboys are lacing him up. Because you got to understand, this Vato's being laced up from the motherfucking toenails on back. He doesn't know anything about the Norte. He's not from a barrio. He's not from a hood. He's more like what the Southerners would call a resident. Kind of like a resident, man, but the embracement is there, and he knows what time it is. He knows that he's watched enough American meat to understand that in prison you have to identify with somebody, so he's going to fuck with the homeboys. Plain and simple, period, or they're going to fuck with him, right? He don't want that. So anyways, he's doing his time, man, and I end up running into him in Susanville prison. I remember while I was on the Yarda for the brief time that I was with him, he was good gente. He was a good homeboy. He told me his whole little story, the story I just put out there. And I was like, yeah, that's what's up, bro. You know what I mean? I was like, hey, just do your little tan, bro. Get him on down the motherfucking road. Right there, the wind's blowing. So I scared. He's like, yeah, my old lady's going to wait for me. I got my kid. She's going to be about 11 or 12 by the time I get out. But, you know, it is what it is. I said, you know, such is life, bro. You know, you chose to drink and drive and you did what you did, man. And, you know, and I always gave it to the homeboys raw diggity. I never added preservatives. I never fucking tried to give them, you know, hope or that wasn't there or fucking dissuade them from something that was. You know, it was always real talk. You know, that's just what I've always been about. So I was like, bro, just try. Just do your thing. It's all good right here. And of course, it started to get ugly. And he started to indulge a little bit in the yes guy and smoke weed on the yada and do what he was doing. And I could see it from a distance, man. But at the same time, I wasn't tripping off the young homie. He was a youngster. He was just trying to do his thing. And I ain't mad at him. Definitely. What I heard is eventually he ended up going to High Desert Prison. They shipped him from Susanville right there across the street to High Desert, where he ended up getting a pegada, man, and picking up 20-something more years. It happens, okay? It happens. That's another instance of prison swallowing you up and spitting you out in pieces, right? Not whole. So they don't swallow you and spit you out whole. So they ain't no fucking culebra. They spit you out in pieces. You're never the same. You're never a whole man again, man. Your mentality doesn't change. It changed because you got caught up in a situation. Now, it happens. And I'm not here to poison people and tell you, oh, man, you're going to go to prison. You're automatically going to fucking pick up 25 years. No, but you never know what the day brings. You know, you could be on the yada that kicking it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Who's that lady? Doing your thing like Crucito, dancing. And the next day you could be fucking morphine's the ticket, right? You could be all fucked up. You just never know what the day may bring on a prison yard. And what it brought him was into a melee, man, where several individuals were booked. And he was caught with the filero, right? He was caught with the piece on him. And they stretched him, man. He got that DA referral and they stretched him. I've seen it happen to a lot of people. I've seen a lot of situations where people turn 36 into life, or they turn 10 into 27, you know what I mean? Or they turn 3 into whatever it may be. It's just like that, you know, and it's a trip to see a homeboy that's doing forever, you know, and I want to talk about Spoquillo de Islas Casitas, respects my brother, right? 30 years plus. It's my homeboy. I remember striving as a youngster with him and Fred Cinelas, and automatically knowing this guy right here was going to go the distance. Now, at the same time, I thought I was going to be a lifer too. But to what degree of lifer, I was trying to be on the low end of that shit, right? I don't know what the low end of life is, but it was what it was. I'm trying to be on the L. He was going straight to the E. Now, I knew he had it in him to continue this Norte push because he always had some type of animosity for the opposition. And he was just a striving, young-ass Norteño. And, of course, we all know his story, how it played out. And now it amazes me. Sometimes I sit back, relax, let the rhymes tax, maintain MCs while the motherfucking double E max, and I chill. And I say to myself, right? Damn, bro. Look at how all the homeboys ended up. One homeboy's in the feds doing vida. Another homeboy's in the feds about to be paroled in a few years. Another homeboy, man, we don't know what happened to him. He got on the 10-2, so he's all skunted out by a railroad track right now. There's another homeboy over there. He turned into a Cheeto who he's getting his cap peeled or he's peeling cap. There's another homeboy over here who's doing jiu-jitsu or whatever, right? And then, of course, there's Spoquillo who's doing 4 life sentences plus 111 years. You know, and people like to say, well, he's the one, man. He did it. He did it? Did he? Really? I love my boy. I respect him. I respect his gangster. But at the end of the day, man, who really did it? Who really did it? I'm going to tell you who did it. The administration did it to him. You know, he found himself as a youngster not reformed. There was no type of rehabilitation there. They didn't teach us nothing. They didn't show us the way. All they did was show us how to make fucking fileros that can handle it, right? Metal. Stop. Hammer time. You know what I mean? It was hammer time. That's all that we learned. We weren't embraced to the point where, let me teach you something, some social thinking skills or some ways to wiggle Charlie, man. And all it did was turn us all into career criminals. And he went that extra mile and found himself caught up in a situation. I'm sure he sits back and reflects in prison now, sitting down on that far yard like, damn, bro, I wish I could have a taco de fucking pastor. I understand. At the same time, I sit back at the same minute, man, and wonder, damn, how would it be to kick it with a homeboy like that? A righteous one, man, who was actually a good guy at heart, man, would give you anything he had, would bleed for you, man, would kill for you, right? And obviously he did, and that's what put him in the situation he's in now. It's unfortunate, but it happens. That's why I wanted to put a little knowledge today that you can't get in college and say, hey, see it for what it's worth, gente. See it for what it is, man. I'm not dissuading anyone. If you want to bang, homie, get your motherfucking bang on. But at the same time, remember, man, wiggle smoothly with a purpose. You never know what's happening on that yarda. You can get caught up and you could turn your 36 into life. It's ugly. Anyways, with that being said, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. I hope that you go out there and you get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, it's all about struggling and striving for the gente, your people, and for whatever you consider your people, man. It's all good in the hood. If you like this, please hit that like and subscribe. The thumbs up. If not, you can hit that thumbs down. It's okay. They do it every day. Heaven is the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle right here on YouTube and bring you the best possible content I can. Every day is a different mix, man. Every day is some different shit. You already know what it is. This is the gun, man. Go over to Gunner's profiles in a little while. I'm dropping a banger. Untold stories. Bang, bang. The gun.